Hey everyone, welcome to How to Overcome the Fear of Speaking English.
It's a topic we know many of you grapple with, isn't it? That familiar knot in your stomach when you need to speak English, even if you know the words?
Absolutely. It's such a common hurdle for intermediate learners. You understand a lot, but actually saying it out loud feels like climbing a mountain.
Exactly. And that fear often holds us back from truly progressing. But today, we're going to dive into some practical ways to tackle that head on.
Exactly, and it's such a common feeling, isn't it? I hear from so many learners, especially at the intermediate stage, who just freeze up when it comes to speaking. It's like you know the grammar, you have the vocabulary, but then the words just get stuck.
Absolutely. And it's perfectly normal. Many factors contribute to this anxiety. One of the biggest, I find, is the fear of making mistakes. Learners often worry about saying something incorrectly, mispronouncing a word, or sounding foolish.
Oh, totally. The fear of judgment is huge. You think everyone's going to notice every little slip up. Like you're in a conversation and suddenly your brain goes, wait, was that past tense or present perfect? And then you just stop talking altogether. It's like an internal critic just amplified.
Precisely. And that internal critic can be quite relentless. Another common cause is the pressure to sound native like. While it's a good aspiration, it can become overwhelming, leading to a reluctance to speak until one feels perfectly proficient. This expectation often comes from within, but can also be perceived from others.
Yeah, that pressure is real, and it's also about wanting to express yourself fully but feeling limited by your vocabulary or sentence structure. It's frustrating when you have a complex idea in your head, but it comes out sounding much simpler in English than you intended.
Indeed, and all of these feelings, whether it's fear of judgment, making mistakes, or simply not being able to articulate your thoughts perfectly, are entirely valid and shared by almost every language learner at some point. It's not a sign of weakness, it's part of the learning process.
That's so true. And I think a huge part of overcoming that fear is actually shifting our mindset about what speaking English well even means. We often get stuck believing we have to be perfect, right? Like every single word has to be spot on, every grammar rule followed flawlessly.
Absolutely. That pursuit of perfection can be incredibly debilitating. Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, which is a common pitfall, we really need to start viewing them as essential learning steps. Think of them as signposts on your journey, indicating areas where you're growing and where you can improve.
Oh, I love that analogy. Signposts. It takes away all the scary negative feelings. Because honestly, who gets everything right the first time? Nobody, not even native speakers. I mess up my own language all the time, mispronounce words or use the wrong tense accidentally. It's totally normal.
Precisely. The goal isn't to eliminate mistakes entirely, it's to communicate effectively and learn from those instances where you might stumble. Every error you make and correct deepens your understanding and strengthens your ability to recall the correct usage next time. It's about progress, not perfection.
So it's about embracing imperfection then, just accepting that you're going to make mistakes and that's okay, because it's part of the process. That feels so much more freeing than trying to be perfect all the time. It really fosters that growth-oriented approach you mentioned.
Indeed, if you can cultivate that mindset where you see each attempt, even those with errors, as a valuable practice session, you'll find the anxiety begins to diminish. You're giving yourself permission to learn, which is incredibly powerful. Focus on getting your message across, and the fluency will follow.
Okay, so we've talked about shifting our mindset, which is huge, but how do we actually start speaking when we're still feeling a bit shaky? What's the very first, gentlest step someone can take?
Exactly. It's about creating those low pressure environments for yourself. My first suggestion, and it might sound a bit odd, is to simply talk to yourself. Practice what you want to say in English out loud when you're alone.
Oh, I love that. Like, narrate your day. Now I'm making coffee. I need to add sugar and stir it well. Is that what you mean? Because I do that in my head all the time. Why not out loud in English?
Precisely. Describe what you're doing, what you're seeing, or even just practice sentences you imagine using in a real conversation. The beauty of this is there's no judgment. You're just getting your mouth and brain used to forming English sentences without the pressure of an audience.
That's brilliant. And what about taking it one step further, but still keeping it low key?
Well, once you're comfortable talking to yourself, a fantastic next step is using the voice recording feature on your phone. Record yourself speaking. You don't have to listen back immediately or ever if you don't want to, but the act of recording forces you to enunciate and form full thoughts. When you do listen, it's a brilliant way to identify areas for improvement, like pronunciation or intonation, without any external pressure.
Ooh, that can be a little scary listening to yourself, but it's true. It's super helpful. And these days, there are so many helpful apps. Are there any supportive language apps you'd recommend for this initial confidence building phase?
Absolutely. Many language learning apps now incorporate speaking exercises with AI feedback. They're designed to be supportive, not critical. Think Duolingo or Elsa Speak, for instance. They allow you to practice pronunciation and phrases, giving you immediate, non judgmental feedback. It's a safe space to make mistakes and learn from them without feeling embarrassed. It's all about building that initial muscle memory for speaking.
Okay, so we've talked about building confidence in those low pressure scenarios, but what about actually getting out there and talking to people? It can still feel like a huge leap, right?
Absolutely, it can. But the key is to expand your horizons gradually. One excellent way is finding a language exchange partner. There are countless apps and websites designed specifically for this, like Tandem or HelloTalk. You practice English with a native speaker, and in return, you help them with your native language. It's a win win.
Oh, I love that. It feels less intimidating because you both have a shared goal and you're both learning. It's not just about you making mistakes, and it's often a really supportive environment.
Precisely. And if one on one feels a bit much to start with, consider joining online conversation groups. Many platforms offer free or low cost virtual meetups where you can discuss various topics with other learners and native speakers. It's a fantastic way to ease into group conversations without the pressure of a face to face setting initially.
Yeah, the internet's amazing for that. And for those who feel a bit more adventurous, look into local meetups. Many cities have English conversation clubs or even groups focused on hobbies where English is spoken. You get to meet new people and practice English in a natural, less formal way. It's all about finding opportunities that are comfortable enough to start, but also push you just a little. So remember, it's totally okay to feel nervous, but the key is to embrace those imperfections and just start.
Indeed, begin with those quiet moments of self talk and recording, then gradually step out into conversations with partners or groups.
Every little bit of practice truly adds up, and keeping a positive mindset will make all the difference.
Absolutely. Your confidence will grow with every word spoken. Keep practicing, and you'll get there.